Hey guys, what's up? Magic Bard here with a pretty sick tutorial on advanced time-lapse techniques. So these are some quick techniques I'll show you that you can do in After Effects to kind of spice up your video when shooting time lapses. You know, I'm sure you've seen a bunch of epic time lapses on YouTube, and I'm going to show you how you can combine video footage, in particular slow motion video footage, with time lapses. But if you're new to the channel and you like what I'm doing here, if you're interested in learning visual effects or getting better or need to get better at editing, definitely click on the red subscribe button and turn on the notifications, which is the little bell right next to the subscribe button, so you can be the first to see all my videos when I post them. And then you'll be on your way to learning epic visual effects every week. I'm going to try and post as many videos as I can every week. It'll probably be around 2 or 3, possibly 4, depending on how much time I have. And hopefully we can go on a pretty awesome visual effects journey in learning new creative movie magic tricks. All right, let's get into the tutorial. So, special thanks to Tyler in letting me use his A7R II camera to create this scene. And let me kind of show you what we did. So, if you haven't imported a time lapse into After Effects before, I'll show you how easy it is. So basically just right click, go to import and file, and then what you'll do is you'll see all your JPEGs of the time lapse that you end up shooting, and all you have to do is click on that first one, and what After Effects will do is import all of them into one file. It'll know. And that's because of the name of the file. It'll know the sequence of it. So there you go. It's as easy as that. Now you've got your time lapse imported into After Effects. That easy. So I already have that in here, so I'm just going to delete this one for now. And so what I did was, with Tyler's A7R II, which is a Sony camera, it shoots 120 frames per second slow motion. And so what I did was I shot him on a tripod in slow motion, okay, and that was at 120 frames per second. And then what I did was right click on the footage, go to interpret footage, click on main, and then right here under conform to frame rate, you'll type in 23.976, okay, because I want to edit this at 24 frames per second. So press OK, and that will create your slow motion clip. Now what you're going to do is take your clip and drag it into a new comp. Now what we're going to do is layer our time lapse. So we'll put this guy right up on here, and then of course the time lapse is going to be a lot larger than our video footage. So we'll have to press S to scale it down, and then press T to open up the opacity and drop it down to about 50%. Press enter, and then kind of gauge where a good, here I'll press S and start moving the scale around until it looks like it links up. So let me see, 15.5, nope, 16.2. So I'll go with 16.2. That looks good enough for me. Okay, so then once we have this all linked up, we can throw this back up to, press T for the opacity, throw it back up to 100%. And now what we want to do is roto brush our actor out, okay? So what we're going to do is double click on our actor, click on our roto brush tool, and then kind of paint him in. So just select him up right there. Okay, that looks good. And I'll get his legs in there and his feet too. And then what I'll do is subtract by holding down the Alt or Option button and then click dragging. So create your selection, and you can kind of zoom in there by scrolling and move around here. Okay, good. And you can also hold down the command button and then click drag to resize your brush. Okay, and then when we get his feet, it's okay to get a little bit of that grass in there as well. So right here looks about good to me. And what we're going to do is zoom in here so we can see a little better by pressing the plus sign a couple times. And then moving over so we can see what we're working with. Drag this bad boy out for the whole clip. So I'm going to hit minus to see. And then drag it out all the way to the end of the clip. Because that's what we want to mat out. That's what we want the roto brush to be checking. And I'll zoom out here. And then basically what I would do is press the page down button and kind of watch my roto brush take shape and make sure that everything is looking as I want it, which is basically our actor inside of our pink lines. Okay, and then if anything messes up as I'm page down, I would just fix my mat. So once I feel pretty confident that After Effects has got what I'm looking at, got what I want, I'm going to click on this freeze button and it will, and then After Effects will create my mask for me. Okay, cool. So now we have our rotoscoped actor right here and it looks pretty good. It looks like he's there. I mean, unless if someone's zooming into your clip, they can't really tell that he's artificially here unless if they look at his feet and see that the grass doesn't actually match up in the dirt. So what I would do there is we can do a little bit of color correction really quickly by adding a curves to our actor, and then kind of just dragging down the darkness to until it looks like the grass is matching up, which is about right here. Okay, I mean now it really blends in. So now we're looking good. Actors in frame, and I like it. Okay, now what we're gonna do is replace this sky, because this sky is really boring, and whenever you have a time lapse, there's always really cool, I don't know, clouds or stuff going on in the background, so we want to fix that one. So what we're gonna do is let's just hide our actor Tyler layer for now, and we're just gonna work with our time lapse, okay? And what we're going to do is start to key out our sky. So go into your effects and presets, type in key light, and drag that bad boy onto here. And let's go to screen color and take our color selector and let's select some of that sky, and we start to make that sky disappear. So let's turn up the screen gain a tad. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. Screen balance fine with me. And then now what you guys can do is really mess around with these parameters in order to get the perfect replacement that you want. Alright, so now the problem with doing some sky replacements when you're working with a lake as well is sometimes the lake is reflecting what's happening in the sky. So if I have a blue sky, I'm gonna have a blue lake as well, and that's why you see that some of my lake is disappearing. So how to fix that is we're going to duplicate this a couple of times. But before we do that, let's create a mask for our time-lapse scene. And what the mask will be is our horizon. Just start to create a line around the mountains. And don't worry about this tree in the way. Just kind of follow out where you think the mountain will be. And now that you've got your mat out, what we're going to do is kind of mess around with this key light. So we're going to have a few layers, as we said before. And on our bottom layer, which is the layer we're working on right here, we're not going to use this key light. Okay, so let's just let's duplicate this by pressing Command D. Okay, and then name this one top layer, or time-lapse top layer, and then name this time-lapse bottom layer. On this bottom layer, all right, let's turn off the top layer for now. On the bottom layer, let's turn off the key light. All right, so now everything's back to normal. On the top layer, we're going to turn that one on, open up our masks, and select subtract. Okay, so now this will do, let me just solo this to show you that now we're working with only our top. So now let's really fix our matte out. So what I'm gonna do is, I can double check what's going on by using my toggle transparency grid. And what I'll also do is add a couple of other effects. So I'll type in color key. I'll drop that one under my key light, and then I'll select the color that's not coming out, which is this sort of grayish color. So I'll select that and then turn up the color tolerance until that starts to go away. Now it's kind of hard to see with this transparency grid, so that's why I like to toggle back and forth to the pure black. Okay. And so that's looking pretty good. I'll turn the feather up to maybe 1 pixel. And okay, now we're looking better. Okay, so now we can throw in a sky and see what that looks like. And then if we have to, we'll mess around with our keying some more. So I have my sky right here. It's a little blue sky. Bring that down. And so this clip is a lot bigger, so I'll kind of drag that down and move it around until it looks like some cool sky. So right there is good for me. And now this is going to be another time-lapse sky that I have right here. And now we have some serious movement of clouds moving around. And because our lake is moving so quickly, it almost looks like it's reflecting off of the sky. So I'm happy with that. That looks good. Now we can add Tyler back in here. And what we've got is our, relatively quick edit on creating a more dynamic time-lapse video. And guys, that's essentially the whole effect right there. The other thing I would do is, because the sky is, really saturated right now, doesn't really blend in, I would add another time-lapse top layer. Okay, so just Control D to duplicate that. Go into your effects and just turn off your key light, turn off your color key, so it'll bring in our original sky. And then go to opacity by pressing T, and then turn your opacity down to 50%. And what that'll do is take away some of the saturation from your other sky time lapse. Okay, so we can turn that on and off to kind of show you what we're dealing with here. And it really blends in our sky a little more. If you look really closely, you can see this sort of line right here that we should probably get rid of as well. And what that is our mask. So all we have to do is go into our top layer and open up our mask expansion and just do 1 pixel and see what that looks like. Nope, the other way, -1 pixels. -4 pixels. And that will get rid of your line. All right, so let's bring that back, make sure everything looks fine and dandy, which it does, and I love it. So guys, this is sort of a basic sky. We have clouds moving around. I just kind of want to show you that really quickly. I mean, if you really want to go wild with this one, you could throw in a night sky with stars and stuff and, go really crazy with it. But yeah, that's the effect. And we're basically done. I mean, if you want to add some more, I'd select the whole thing, go to Layer, Pre-Compose, and you probably know what I'm doing based off of my other tutorials. What I'll do is start it from the beginning, press S, keyframe it by clicking on this stopwatch, press P, keyframe the position as well, click on that stopwatch, press U, so you can see both your keyframes, drag it to the very end, and we're going to add a zoom effect in there. Okay? And then we'll move the position around to our ending mark right there. And then that is the effect. And guys, that's it for the advanced time-lapse techniques. I hope this helped you. If it did, please leave a like and subscribe for new tutorials every single week. And if you want to see some more, you can catch me on social media on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. I'm at Magic Bard. And please leave me a comment if you have any visual effects that you want to learn about. Maybe you saw some kind of cool effect online or on social media or in the movies, and you're like, hey, how do you do this effect? Just leave it in the comment. I'll try to get to it as soon as possible. And that's about it for today. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.